Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shmira Benson, one part of Team Benson, and I noticed in my Sunday garden tour that I did that I was starting to get broccoli heads. So I need to prune this broccoli plant. Okay guys, so it's another misty day here in the desert. We are getting some winter rains and it's supposed to rain for like 3 days straight, so we will see. But I do a thing when it comes to my broccoli to be able to produce more broccoli and the most out of the plant. And that is I prune it. I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. It is big and beautiful and probably hard to think that I'm getting ready to cut off a lot of these leaves, but I want to put in a lot of energy. Well, I want the plant to put in a lot of energy to making me these broccoli heads. Not only the broccoli heads, but the broccoli shoots that will follow after I harvest the big broccoli head. So to do that, I want to make sure that there's not a lot of energy from the plant going other places, like these big giant leaves. Now, broccoli leaves are edible, so you can put them in your mixed greens. Like if you're making southern greens, you can just saute them up and eat them like I did in the Swiss chard video, or you can do what I'm gonna do with them and share them with your worms. I like to feed my worms at least once a week because they eat a lot, and over the summer I use these big broccoli leaves. So I'm going to be feeding my worms some of these broccoli leaves right now, but then I'm also going to put some in the freezer, save them for later, and be able to give them to my worms frozen when it's like 118 degrees. A lot of people ask me how I take care of my worms in the middle of the summer. That's one of the ways. I give them frozen broccoli leaves that I grew over the winter. All right guys, it's starting to drizzle, so I'm gonna hurry up and get to cutting on these. I am going to basically cut everything below probably about like right here or right here. I'm gonna see what it looks like, but we're gonna give them a nice haircut. This is also gonna let the rain get to the bottom soil here that you can see is dry. Okay, so they got a big haircut. I did leave just a couple leaves down there for just little buggies and worms and stuff like that to eat, just so that there's more food in the bed. And then look at this big cilantro, guys. This thing is bolting like crazy. So I'm gonna be harvesting that pretty soon, coming back and cutting it down. But this is going to give the plant a lot more energy to be able to direct its energy to making me heads of broccoli. And then all of the offshoots will be coming in these little spaces, like in the elbows. That's where those little offshoots are going to come in and grow even more broccoli. As you can see down here, you can already see them starting to form. Okay, so I'm going to take these inside and I'm going to show you just what I'm going to do with them. Lots and lots of broccoli leaves, and it's totally starting to rain again. Okay guys, so if you come to my house, you will see things like this that say worm food on it, and it's because literally it's just worm food. That's all that it is. So all that I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these and I'm just going to break them up. Probably going to get a cutting board and chop them. I don't have to wash them or anything like that because we're not going to eat them. They're going to go to the worms, and I'm just going to shove them in these bags, and then I'm going to put them in the freezer, and that's going to be what my worms eat over the summer. So I ended up with a bag and a half. Now I'm going to be continuing this as the broccoli grows, and once the broccoli starts getting to where it's buggy, then I'm not going to do this. The nice part about doing this right now is that I can chop up all of these and not find a single insect or anything because it's too cold for the insects to be out. And there's no aphids on the plant because the plant is extremely healthy. Now, when it gets to the point to where the plant's starting to die and everything's trying to go to seed, and those leaves are covered in insects, then I'm just going to take those leaves and compost them directly in the garden without taking them out, and save these for when it's the hottest part of the year. And yeah, that's just simple how you do it. Now, every year I always have people that say like, you just wasted all of your broccoli leaves and you could have eaten that. And yes, this is true. I mean, even with these, if it comes a time where there's no food in my house, I can easily just saute these up and feed my family with them. But I want to remind you that you need to make your garden sustainable for itself. I have a different type of worm. I have a red wiggler worms in my garden, not earthworms. So those red wiggler worms are composting worms, and they eat a lot, like a lot. But they also provide my garden with a ton of worm castings, which is basically like garden gold for my garden. It helps my garden grow as amazing as it does. One of the reasons why those broccoli plants grow so well in that area, and anything that I plant in that area grows that well, is because it's connected to that worm bin. And those worms are coming out and they're pooping mainly in that area. So it just has a lot of nutrients in it. So I want to remind you to grow things in your garden, not only just for yourself and for your family to eat, and for like herbs, like for it to be healthy and keep you guys have like medicine growing, but you also want to grow things that are going to be to give back to your garden and to give back to the things that are helping to keep your garden sustainable. Because if you don't have those worm castings to be able to spread those around your garden, you're going to have to buy them, or you're going to have to buy a fertilizer, you know, that is mixed up with stuff that you don't even know what it is. I know my worms are healthy, and I know that their castings that they are putting in my garden are healthy because I grow an organic garden and I feed them things that I grow right in my garden. And that wasn't the case when I first got my garden. When I first got my garden, I didn't produce enough stuff, and I had a lot of worms, and I was literally like buying lettuce at the store and like things to like give them to just be able to create all of that nutrients, and then to get the population of the worms up. Because you also don't want to keep buying worms. I can easily just produce more worms in my backyard, and I only had to buy them, I think, twice. And that was it. And now I just, if I need more worms, I go and I dig in that worm bin and I just grab out a handful and put them wherever I need to put them. And it makes my whole entire garden way more sustainable, and I'm in control of how it's growing. So I just wanted to give you guys that reminder that not everything in your garden needs to be for you. Some things in the garden needs to give back to the garden itself. And if you have animals, so even like your chickens and your cows and your sheep and all those different animals that you might have on your farm, rabbits are another good one, you can use their manure for your garden, and you can feed them the things that are coming out of your garden. Because if you have an abundance of something, you should be doing something with it. And if you have an overabundance of something, you grew too much. So I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. I hope that it just gave you more ideas of what you can do with your garden, and also different ways of being sustainable, and how to grow extra broccoli, and how to keep those plants nice and healthy. And yeah, until next time, grow yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.